Welcome to Deep Dive Daily.
What up, Andy? Good morning. And good morning, especially to Kawhi Leonard. Haven't seen him play like that in 6 years. And because it was pre-pandemic, it feels like 600 years ago that we saw that vintage of Kawhi Leonard. And boy, oh boy, did the Clippers need it to get that win last night. I feel like that was the series and the balance there. They find a way to lose both game one and game two, despite playing that well. They're probably going to lose the series. Now it's back on. Now I'm thinking we're going back to Denver up 3-1, baby. Norm Powell and Bogey can't play that poorly at home, can they? But we're going to get into some more NBA reactions. We'll talk about some NBA bets for today. We'll break down the conclave, which to me has a lot more interest than the NFL draft, which has no juice, Andy. Where's the juice?
It has juice.
Draft week, and
you
we're
got to pick through a lot of bullshit
on draft trade hypotheticals. What are we doing? Like, there is so little juice.
I mean, just trust the right people, I guess. I read Charles, what is his last name? Charles Robinson. Yeah, he put out a good article today. Charles Robinson. He put out a good article today. A lot of he's calling bullshit, flagging a lot of stuff. He's just like, hey, the Jags to draft offense just doesn't feel real. This doesn't feel real. The quarterback stuff feels a little bullshitty, and he made the same comparison we made. It's like, there was a good chance Lamar Jackson wasn't going in the first round. And
Sure.
Somebody's like, man, I can sell myself on this kid. It just takes teams selling, and Milroe feels very Jackson light in a very weak overall draft class, where somebody can be like, man, do we want the 7th best offensive tackle, or do we want to roll them bones?
Yeah, right.
7s and 11s, backdoor little Joe. Maybe we get it. Maybe we hit on this quarterback, and maybe we all get rich. So,
yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, and the Kawhi thing, last time I seen him battering, he was sitting on his butt on the baseline watching a shot go in, I guess.
No, I mean, that was
like a million years ago.
It was like a million years ago, but that was the way it felt last night. Brad says, yeah, Shirley Quiet can shoot 79% all the time. It wasn't even about the shot quality last night. Those were hard-ass shots. The Nuggets were defending him very effectively, it felt like. There was the refs were allowing a lot of contact, and it did not matter. Kawhi found his spots, and he got his shot off, and it went in all the time. That was an absolute masterclass from him. Spectacular performance from him. And if he's just going to play that way, then the Clippers are for real. So I'm just, as long as he's healthy and on the court, I'm going to enjoy every minute of it, and I'll leave it at that. So the NFL draft juice stuff is funny to me because normally on the Tuesday of draft week, we are full on Pepe Sylvia with the string in the lab, putting the pieces of the puzzle together.
I mean, I still
there's
am.
So much. This could happen, and if this happens, this happens. This year, it feels just flat as can be. The fact that Peter Schrager on Get Up this morning kicking around the idea that teams are trading up to 2 or 3. That was so stupid. It feels like AI wrote it. There's no team and no universe where you can give up as much value as you would need to get up into the blue chip range for this draft for a non-quarterback. It's just absolutely crazy to me that anyone would do it.
I think you're getting Myles Garrett too. I get it. But as we talked off air, I seen the post. I seen a bunch of people posting after it, and it's people, fans, being like, "Oh, it's my Dolphins. Oh, it's my Niners." But what you have and what it would take to get to 3, to get Abdul Carter, it would be obscene from 12, 13, 20.
Sure.
Someone, it's just so much. And like I said off air, it feels like the Jags could do it. Somebody could move up a couple spots, but it would still be King's ransom. And at that point, I get it for the Giants if they want to trade back, if they really want to do quarterback, if they do a double trade back to 5, trade back with Denver. If Denver can really pull off a big trade up to 5 to get Genty or something, but all that stuff, that's a 0.1% kind of thing. But I will say, and I'll disagree with the lack of juice stuff, It's just lack of solid info that's driving us nuts because we don't have anything. All these little rumors, all these things, they're all like 5% chance things. But there's 25 of them. And that's the fun part. It's like one of those things is going to happen. And that's the fun part is like which one happens and how does it affect everything else?
Yeah.
Because
what if none of them happen?
Any of those. It feels like one happens. Something is going to happen.
What if none of them do? What if just everybody?
We'll just go into the draft and it's going to go exactly like everyone thought. That's how it works every year, right?
It happens sometimes. It happens sometimes.
It does not happen. It never happens.
There are some years. Anyway, that's the year. That's what it feels like.
I think the surprises are all coming. I think the surprises are coming later in the draft. I think the back end of the draft is going to get really weird.
Let's bring this full circle. I'm having an interest in the NFL problem. My interest is waning, and I don't really know why. I can't really put my finger on it. My interest in the NFL draft this year is lower than it's been in the last 15 since. I think that the first year that I really got into the NFL draft was the Reggie Bush, Matt Leinart, Vince Young year. Oh, God. Mario Williams go first in that one? I remember.
We knew that like 2 weeks before the draft.
Yeah, I remember getting up early, getting way into the hype. Of super into that. I think you have to go back to the draft before that for one that I had less interest in. And the problem is that like right now we have a haves and have-nots in the NFL, and like the have-nots. This draft is not solving your problems. I'm sorry. Like even a team like the Raiders who are picking 6, like that should be an interesting pick, right? Like the new regime, like they got their quarterback figured out. They got holes fucking everywhere. It's like doesn't really matter who they take though. They're gonna get like a bona fide long-term starter at some position, and it's not going to change their odds to win the AFC West by more than 1%. Like it's a crazy spot to be in, considering that there's I don't know. There's just so many things interesting about that pick that they could do, but it's just none of them really matter. So I'm struggling with the draft. And then the other end of the stick is Clippers and the Nuggets play on Thursday night. You know what? I'm not going to be watching the draft because Clippers Nuggets has been fucking electric. Almost every minute
that game's going to start
is just like on the edge of my seat.
3 hours after the draft starts. I guarantee
that's it'll be around pick 10 when pick 10 is finally on the clock. Pick 8, yeah. Okay, then we'll flip it right over to Clippers Nuggets.
I'm checking the time on that now. Oh my God, it is a 10 p.m. Eastern, so you can get 2 hours of draft. Which again, with the easy joke we made, it's like that's like 12 picks. You get 2 hours of draft before that one starts. I can't get into the New York series, the New York Detroit one.
It's bad.
Boy, everybody was complaining about that.
Cade was excellent last night, but otherwise.
Well, and the other one too, Memphis, Oklahoma City. Is that just going to be another?
Yes.
Drowning cats in a burlap sack kind of thing?
Yeah, sadly. No, like
what is it?
The East,
hydrogen bomb versus coughing baby.
Yeah. The East is brutal because we know where this is going. Cavs, Celtics, just get us there for crying out loud.
Collision course.
The West is getting interesting, but the West is also, is gonna have some fun. I just wanted to tell some Kawhi stories. So, again, like that the big takeaway from yesterday was Kawhi getting whatever shot he wanted wherever he wanted it, and the fact that he looked like he stepped out of a time machine from 2017. I still can't believe that well he played, and I absolutely loved it. But it reminded me of some good times. And I particularly want to bring up the Kawhi Toronto times. Do you remember that year, Andy?
Yeah.
2019? Something like that.
19.
6 years ago. Feels like 600. The funny thing about that is when Kawhi's divorce was pretty apparently coming in San Antonio, right? We had a friend we chat with we
bet on that, like where Kawhi goes.
Well, we have a friend who we chat with who was plugged in. This is just story time. This is one of my first.
This is when you got it wrong, but you got it right.
This is one of my first biggest kind of future wins. Like, whoa, big money, kind of exciting. And at the time I was mostly betting at 5 dimes, I think. But I had an account at Bookmaker, and I had some money in there. Well, but we had, but most of my action was fine at 5 dimes, and our friend who was plugged in San Antonio was like, yeah, Kawhi's forcing his way. Kawhi's forcing his way out, and the Spurs are pissed about it, and like as like punishment, they're gonna send him to Phoenix, right? Like that was the buzz, and we were like, oh shit, and of course Uncle Tony had next team up, and Phoenix was 20-1. And back then you could mash that thing into oblivion. And it got to the point where Phoenix was like minus 400, I want to say, because all of us in the chat were all just playing it at the same time, like, full stakes. And am I remembering right? At 5 dimes, you didn't really know what the limit was. You just had to kind of find it. Am I remembering right?
No. You typed in 9999999
and it adjusted you down?
Yeah, and it would be like, even if you could have $100 in there, you could type in 99 million, and it wouldn't say you don't have enough money. It'd be like, no, the limit's 500.
Yeah, but you could also find parlay. It would let you parlay anything with anything, and if you found something to parlay it with that had the higher limits, it defaulted to the higher limit. Is what I remember.
Yeah, you could kind of game it a little with.
Okay,
that.
Well, whatever the case was, we staked a shitload on Kawhi to go to Phoenix, and
the bookmaker didn't list the Suns, right?
Well, no. So this was it. Bookmaker had their own list, and they priced Phoenix like kind of among the co-favorites because they maybe came up later. Bookmaker doesn't really do this anymore, by the way. These are like weird exotic markets. They have next Pope up.
You got the Pope,
but they don't have. We got some action in the Pope market. We'll cover that later.
I'm working on some poly market plugs.
Oh, really? I gotta ask you if you think if our intel is real. I believe our friend. He's fucking genius. He probably knows. But anyway. A lot of the buzz today was they're going to pivot and go more of a conservative Pope as opposed to the guy we think. Anyway, so Bookmaker used to Bookmaker used to offer just weird stuff like next team, and they offered Kawhi next team, and again, like I'd put a bunch of my bankroll at 5 dimes on Phoenix at 20-1, 15-1, 10-1, or whatever, and it was minus 400, and we were just laughing, like belly laughing at like what the price was because Tony moved it all the way to like minus 400, and then people were reporting it like it was news, like we got breaking news, like Kawhi's going to Phoenix. Look at this, 5 dimes has moved to minus 400, right? You remember all this? And
and it's just like.
Yeah, and then somebody in our chat dropped a tweet from Woj that was like, Indiana has a deal for Kawhi Leonard.
Oh, that's what it was.
And I was like, oh shit. And at this point, like the 5 dimes market was gone, but the bookmaker market was still up. And so I'm like, God damn, I gotta get a bet on Indiana. And you go to 5 dimes, and Indiana wasn't listed, but Field was. Bookmaker didn't list Indiana, but Field was up. And so then I'm like literally just doing the math. I'm like, how much do I have to get on Field to cover my bet over here? And then I was just like, oh, they're just letting me have more. They're letting me have more. And so I'm just piling into Field for the Kawhi Leonard. And then I come back to the chat, and guys like, I gotcha. And it was like, it was a draft day tweet from Woj when the original deal happened that sent him to San Antonio. And I was like, so he's not going to Indiana.
He did not.
And then I was like, and then, within 24 hours, we get news he's going to Toronto. And I was like, and this was real now. And I spent a good 15 minutes asking anyone for screenshots from the bookmaker because I didn't know if Toronto was in the field or if they were. I didn't know if they were in the field or if they were independently listed. Turns out they were in the field. My field bets get home. Kawhi Leonard going to Toronto. And at that point, I was like, you know what? This was found money. I'm just going to put it in Toronto to win the East. And because LeBron's gone, like there's nobody else like legit in the East. Like they could just win the East, and so I rolled all of it into Toronto to win the East. And on vacation in where was I? Tahiti.
Croatia?
In Tahiti, I was in Tahiti, and Kawhi carried the Raptors over the Bucks in the Eastern Conference Finals. It was so fucking great. And yeah, that was first and most memorable Kawhi win that I had in my lifetime. And sad that we never got to see Kawhi against the peak Warriors, because Zaza Pachulia took him out in game 1 when the Spurs were winning by 10 against the mighty Warriors.
That was the reason I opened my bookmaker account.
Oh, what?
I just never
really.
Yeah, I just remember I had like 5 or 6 offshores already, and I was fine with, like, I had Bet Online, I had 5 Dimes, you know, I had Bovada Sports, .ag, sportsbetting.ag or whatever, and like back then, boy, this is a fall from grace. Back then, Bet DSI wasn't that bad, which is just absolute, you know, dumpster fire of a book. I haven't logged into there in 5 years, but I mean, I had like 6, 7 books that I was using. I just didn't have a bookmaker account. And I remember it was like, well, it's up here. The Sun, you can get Suns at like 20, 25, whatever. Like, all right. So I remember I opened a bookmaker account for that. And obviously now it's like, I use it more than anything.
I love it. Yeah, I used to do a lot of betting back then on Nitro, and there was one year where we locked in like Warriors to win the title at like plus 125 in like October, and then Bitcoin just went absolutely. It went nuclear, and so I'm like, oh wait, how much do I have at stake here? And I believe that was the year that they eked past the Rockets, when the Rockets went 1 for 27 or 0 for 27.
0 for 27. 0 for 27. They did not make a shot.
0 for 27.
Hard to do.
That Harden is back in our lives as well. It's a fun kind of the Clippers bringing a lot of the old favorites from playoff years past back into the fold. So that's fun. Anyway, for today in the NBA, favorite bet, you're not going to be surprised. It's the over in Minnesota, LA. I can't believe this is 210.5. This is insane. There's a world where the Lakers just shoot better, and I think the Minnesota gets theirs here. I really am. I would be, the shocking thing for me in this contest would be Minnesota just treating this like it doesn't matter and getting 100 points. I think Minnesota's getting their 110, and the Lakers get into the low teens. I'm going to say final score Lakers 113, Minnesota 110, something like that. So over and all overs for me in the nightcap. No real sincere belief that Milwaukee could turn this around, but they have the most room for improvement in terms of just fixing their rotation from what I saw in game 1 to game 2.
What's the Dame news? Is it no today, or like 10% chance today, 20% chance today? Is it a hard no, you think?
I think I would say 3% chance he plays today, and a pretty high percent chance he plays game 3.
That's kind of what the tea leaves said the other day. It was like people miss a couple games, but I've not read any NBA news this morning. So
when I first heard the news,
you could have told me like he's playing for sure, and I would have been like, oh, okay, I didn't know.
When I first heard the news, I kind of assumed it was game 3 return. So he's ramping up conditioning, trying to get in some game shape, I guess, but we won't know that until game 3.
Yeah, I didn't bet any NBA.
The Nitro live chat was fucking degenerate.
The worst live chats were the Score app, and Crack Streams. Crack Streams is just slurs just running up the screen. Like, and people, what was the old language you used to use to make pictures with letters? You know, ASCII. People would do that, but they take a bunch of and then make a slur out of it.
Yeah,
it's like, wow, you spent a lot of time on that.
Wow, good on you. Yeah,
good on you guys.
I
bet a live over in the Tottenham match. Got half chilly there with a 275, and I bet a live over in hockey. Took a push, so I made like $60 yesterday. Good job, nice Andy. Work. I didn't have any real bets. I just degened a little, and it felt like I looked at the NBA schedule. I'm like, I don't want to bet either of these games. So it was kind of a light Monday for me. I'll have to get involved in that Lakers one with you.
I love it, man. I don't have many other thoughts or commentary, really. We'll save some more NBA thoughts for tomorrow. We'll save some more draft thoughts for tonight. We're going to do a live podcast tonight that is long form. We have a guest, and hopefully he will bring the juice. So, and honestly, like this stuff happens so fast. Maybe by the time we get to tonight's podcast, I'll have like 10 in fun, interesting things to talk about, but it'll be 8 p.m. Eastern if you're intending to join us live and chat, bring some questions. Our guest should we unveil it? Might as well. It will be the fantasy law guy, Nick. He has been, at least in the behind the scenes in the private chat, he's been the MVP so far of just really hustling to grind what people are saying on pods and shows and things like that.
Yeah, he is balls deep in the draft.
Yeah, I've appreciated his degree of into the mud, into the weeds. So Nick will be on with us tonight and talking some NBA and some NFL draft. And I'm hopeful that he'll bring some juice because
we'll do some, even if there's nothing solid, there's a lot of good what if. Like, that's the stuff you have to think about. Like, if this happens, what else happens? Second order thinking, because I mean, that's where some of the big prices are going to be. If you, it's almost like we do when we get to the preseason in NFL and we say, like, remember set a reminder to bet the Cowboys to win the East. And obviously we had to ignore that calendar invite once we get to week 11 or wherever it was, because it just wasn't working out in the injuries. But it's the same kind of thing. Like, look at some of these rumors and rank them and say, like, these are, maybe they're all like sub 5% in your mind, but rank them anyway. Look at all the rumors. Which ones are most likely? And then say, what if this happens? What if the Jaguars, what if it goes, chalk 4, Campbell, Jaguars take Tet McMillan, Jaguars take Genty. What happens in the next 3 or 4 picks that you can make money off of? Just have that kind of stuff ready, because if we do get like confirmation on something, good info that something fucked up is going to happen in the top 10, you need to be ready to fire on that, the secondary stuff. Everyone's going to go race to that, and there's going to be a lock symbol, 5 seconds to cut on that. You're not going to be able to bet that guy to that thing. Think about what the second step is, and get ready to fire on some of that stuff, because some of that stuff is going to be, hey, there's 3 guys that are 10-1 in the next pick that I can make bets on right now.
So, like, what's a good example of that? Like, would you say you're high confidence that the Patriots would take Abdul Carter if the Giants took, not that they're going to, but if they took Shooter Sanders?
If they took Sanders?
Would you think Carter goes for?
I wonder if there's places that let you parlay that. And I know that there are. It might be a little more work, but if you like request,
there definitely
are.
Isn't that that's like the Bill Simmons top 4 at FanDuel?
Probably.
I think
but
I'm
saying, like, Bovada, if you have a clean Bovada account, they'll let you just request that. Hey, give me, Sanders 3, Abdul Carter 4. Hell, give me the top 4 in order to add like another nickel to it. Just think about some of those things and be ready to fire. It feels like we're going to get 1 or 2 confirmations of something, and maybe they're boring and we don't get to make any money off it, but I'm keeping some powder dry.
I dig it.
I did bet over 14.5 SEC players yesterday.
I mostly just want to talk about players and teams who are going up and down, and teams who we think have relatively high confidence.
I like this
fit. Yeah, we need to properly tier everybody. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, shout out to all the the books that take size. Pinnacle mug from Andy. I got a Pinnacle mug too.
Got that hoodie still?
Yes, I do.
It was a good hoodie.
I won it via.
Oh, the poem. You wrote a poem.
I wrote a poem. Yes, on Twitter. Poem winning, coin contest winning. All right, let's call it. We'll.
I got a golf show to do in 5 minutes. Oh, yeah. If you want to talk some Zurich Classic, me and Noonan will be over on the BetSports Golf channel. PM God's time. We'll be cheering for. Oh my God, the Lakers game starts. I'll find out if they won tomorrow. I ain't staying up for that.